this docuseries, Reality Check, it is lifting the curtain on America's Next Top Model.
It was so huge.
10,000 girls turned out for America's Next Top Model.
That time in television was just crazy.
It can make you or break you.
When they first approached you to be a part of this, did you have any reservations or fears, or was it an immediate yes?
It was an immediate, can we have a long conversation on the phone? That was, and I got on the phone with one of our executive producers, Jason Beekman, and he was just so passionate and really wanting to bring the celebratory vibe to the table, but ultimately saying we want this to be a big discussion. And I said, I hear you, I feel you. How about tea? And I said, if you want an answer right now, it's probably gonna be no. That was my answer. And he said, I'm in New York in 2 weeks, can we sit down? So we sat down. What was supposed to be an hour tea and talk was 3 hours. I could really feel his energy. I knew Netflix was very interested at this point, like everything was ripe and ready to go. They needed to know if I was signing on board. And at that time, I said to him, I am going to take a leap of faith because you're the first person that I actually feel wants to have a real discussion. Because in the last 5 years, we were approached probably at least twice a year by major networks or studios saying, we want to do this. And I always got this feeling it was going to be a takedown piece. And I don't think that is the right attitude to have. I don't believe in takedown culture. I don't think the show should be taken down. And I don't think Tyra needs to be vilified at all. So that, I finally felt the confidence to step into this. And when Netflix greenlit this right away, Tyra didn't even know about it. I think that's what people don't know, is that Netflix was ready to tell this story with or without her participation. And what was great about that was they assigned the directors, Moore and Daniel, who are known for their journalistic integrity. And I'm a geek, so I was the person who was like, really? This is who's doing it? Because I'm familiar with their work.
Yes.
And basically, they gave us the space. It felt like a safe space to just really answer questions and express how we felt. And I'm forever grateful for that.
In the doc, Tyra, she speaks about the challenges that, the criticism, and she essentially kind of blames the viewers.
We kept pushing and we kept creating more and more and more. You guys were demanding it. The viewers wanted more and more and more.
Are the viewers equally to blame for some of these creative choices that were being made?
My honest answer is I believe Tyra believes that statement to be true. When it comes to Tyra taking some form of accountability, genuine accountability around some of the things that went on the show, look, that's up to her. I don't know if she's really ready to go there because in general, Tyra, I know her, and I mean this with just so much love and support because I want her to get there. I think she has a hard time really looking at herself. I just wished Tyra had brought the vulnerable, wounded woman who has a journey to the table. Because I know that Tyra. I've had long nights, sleepovers, intimate moments. I know that Tyra. I know those stories. However, watching this documentary, I saw television Tyra. I did not get to see the woman that I know, and I do believe that audiences across the world would have been much more receptive to this woman who has fought the odds in an industry as a Black model, a woman who's had her own journey and a lot of pain. And that woman would have related to everyone. And I just wish, I hope there's still a chance that people get to see that.
You and Nigel, Miss J, can all take accountability at different moments throughout the doc of saying either, you did speak up with the switching of the ethnicity shoot, or just in general saying, yeah, that didn't age well, like that's not good. She doesn't.
I didn't think it was controversial, but then we put it out there and the world was like, are you crazy? Have you lost your mind? It's a little difficult for me to talk about production because that's not my territory. Hindsight is 20/20 for all of us. I did the best that I could at that time.
Tyra doesn't seem to ever really take any accountability for anything negative that took place on set for the most part. Do you think that that's true or fair for her to not take any responsibility?
First of all, I think viewers, and obviously this doc just hit, and so I'm getting pummeled with statements. And people who don't even know Ken and Tyra as a relationship and how they ultimately bonded as this kind of united front. People are starting to see the two of them are very coordinated, even in this doc with, you know, incredible documentarians working on it. And I mean, I can't say I know for a fact, but I know them very well. The two of them definitely coordinated how they were gonna come to this documentary and speak. The episode 2 where Shandi, she's like, oh, first of all, she struggles to remember it, which I find hard to believe because how many times did she bring Shandi on her talk show?
You remember the story with Shandi?
You okay? Cheated on me? Yeah. I'm not head of story, that's Ken Mock.
Yeah, nice try. The other thing I would say is that, you know, she's saying, well, I wasn't involved in story. I'm not here to debate or again, convince anyone of anything or change anyone's mind, but I will say I was there. And Tyra was definitely learning day by day from cycle 1 from Ken Mock, who has worked in this world, and Tyra was all in. So when it came to that Shandi moment, you know, I was with Tyra. We were in the production office when we found out what was going on at the girl's house. Shandi's having sex in the shower with a guy. I was like, wait, what? Of course they were gonna figure out how ultimately they were gonna play this on the episode. And I do say in the documentary, there was a different cut of that episode before the network censors clamped down after the Super Bowl incident with Janet Jackson. That episode was recut to a safer version which aired, which is still heartbreaking to watch.
I just wanna let my boyfriend know what happened, but I'm so scared.
Just please tell me what you did.
I was hammered. I think I had 2 bottles of wine by myself. It didn't even feel sex happening, I just knew it was happening. And then I passed out. The next day, I woke up and was like, what the happened last night? And I just sat there and cried. I was blacked out. No one did anything to stop it. And it all got filmed, all of it. Every moment of it.
I was devastated at the time because Shandi was one of my favorites to win. And in the documentary, I love that people are asking this question. The entire documentary doesn't end. It actually opens up a dialogue to many other questions. Shandi says, someone said, hey, how do you feel about the guys coming over? Well, who's someone? Working on that show for 18 cycles, the girls could not dictate the next 5 minutes of their lives. So I can tell you who the someone was. I know who it was, but ultimately it was a producer who said that. So I leave it at that. I considered myself like besties with Tyra. I feel like she knew I'd do anything for her, and I mean, I revered her. It becomes like a relationship.
Tyra was not just in charge of this show and in a sense your boss. You guys were best friends. You guys were bosom buddies. You had sleepovers. You were hanging out in each other's apartments, going over things. So that gets very complicated when your friend is now suddenly your boss.
Even before Top Model started, people were always concerned when they saw that level of closeness that Tyra and I had. And a few people tried to warn me and say, look, I know, and to the world she's saying you guys are besties, but you know, just watch yourself. And I early on realized there's a bit of a strange power dynamic here, and I want to honor her as a really close friend, but I don't want to expect too much. And so I lowered my expectations, but wanted to do everything for her. And so the relationship worked in an imbalance for a long time until it stopped working.
Let's talk about you attempting to leave the show. You sent a very well thought out email, and then you basically changed your mind because you expressed fears of being blacklisted within the industry a bit.
I recognized that my role was starting to have limitations. If you really look for it, you can see it on my face. I tortured myself over the decision. It did not come lightly. I knew I was going to exit the show after cycle 8, but I went through the whole cycle. I did my job. Tyra was so happy with everything, and I wanted to leave on the high note. And Tyra and I had made this pact. Let's never talk through our people, lawyers, agents, what have you, always come to me. She was traveling and I couldn't get her on the phone, so I did send her an email after we had wrapped cycle 8. expressing my extreme gratitude for this show, this opportunity. I was now working on other networks and I wanted to kind of grow myself. And someone who used to respond immediately or call me all the time just went silent for 3 days. And the response email I got was 3 words. It just said, "I am disappointed." That's it. Never heard from her again. They did screen test several people to take my role. Then I was in St. Lucia 2.5 weeks out of them starting production when I got this urgent call to basically call my attorney. And he said, look, business affairs from the parent network said, we would love it if you could, as a favor, come back and do 1 cycle for us. Now, what's not clear in the documentary is I thought, you know what? I probably should do this, but the problem was I had already committed to another project. I'm supposed to start shooting something else. So my lawyer told them that. They thought I was bluffing. So their business affairs came back, and that's when they said, look, we would probably say it would be hard pressed for us that you would end up working on any of our channels. And we all can look up who the parent network was. And that struck the fear of God in me because I was in my 30s. My career trajectory was up. And I thought getting blacklisted at that time, again, that word wasn't used, but they basically said it, was death. So I went back out of fear from Cycle 9 and I thought I could get through it. But when I showed up and realized I was gonna sit next to Tyra, who would not say a word to me and she would turn her back to me unless the cameras were on. And the first time they turned the cameras on, I didn't even know what to do.
Now you stayed until cycle 18. Why continue to do an additional 9 seasons?
The answer really is this. I had already felt the ramifications of saying no. I honestly went back, out of fear of what would happen to me. I really did. And ultimately, today, if I was asked, I would probably not go back because I realized you can't fix misalignment and you can't cure relationships with that level of fallout. But I was so naive in thinking I could. So I thought if I go back, I'll fix everything. Tyra will be happy with me. And it was the people pleaser in me then.
And then after cycle 18 happens, they decide to fire you, Miss J, and Nigel in one fell swoop with no, as far as it seems, any kind of heads up whatsoever that was happening. How did that impact you?
Honestly, it was somewhat of a relief. I was so glad to be going. Well, I want to clarify this from the doc. Oh, the head of the network asked for you to go. I know the people that were in the room, and I can say this without a shadow of a doubt. He did not say, get rid of A, B, and C. He wanted a reduction in budget. We were the fat on the budget. We were the next highest paid to Tyra.
Bosses have bosses. And the big boss was very clear. You have to let go of this, and this. 3 of my hearts. There are no sacred cows. I cried myself to sleep that night. And the thing is, I don't believe that they knew that it came from above.
Do you believe, though, that there was a chance she could have taken a pay cut to save you guys?
I can tell you from the people, the producers in the room, that Ken and Tyra said both of them will not take pay cuts because they run the show, and we need to find it in the budget. And ultimately, it was their directive that we be cut. But to be clear, Tyra thinks that we hold that against her. I would like to clear the air. Honestly, she had to make a business decision. She didn't want to take a pay cut. We were cut. That's her decision. Good for you, Tyra. Honestly, I mean that. To this day, where we take offense was we were offered the opportunity to write a joint press release where we all get a statement and we move on with grace, the way most talent do when they leave a show. And Tyra, who is the queen of spin, who has been let go by major networks and major shows, she jumps ahead of their announcement. She controls her narrative. And in Tyra's world, you don't leave Tyra. Tyra leaves you. She purposely branded us. Fired talent, the ratings are down.
The 3 stars of America's Next Top Model were all just fired by Tyra Banks.
Oh my God.
There was a leak to Page 6 that said the 3 of us were fired.
That was probably the lowest point for me.
She knew we would wear that. And I think on some level, she was willing to let us, throw us under the bus to be branded that so she could lift her show up. And it's just such a shame that they chose to treat us like that, because once the narrative was out there, there was nothing we could do. We obviously knew the ratings took a crash. It dropped 54% after we left. So much for the sacred cows that were dragging down the show.
Tyra is asked in the doc about her falling out with you and if she would like to talk about it. And she gives a very blasé, nah.
I prefer, yeah.
Her reaction, it made me chuckle. It made me chuckle because she has made a pointed effort to not speak about me in the press. I know for a fact in major network interviews, she goes in with a list of questions, and I am on that she refuses to talk about me or my novel that I wrote a few years ago. And so that's her prerogative. But what's very telling about her reaction is it's the first time I saw her in the doc respond without this prepared answer. We got to see a bit of a break in the personality, Tyra. And, she politely, but you can tell she's annoyed with the director. She politely said, no, I don't want to do that here.
I should call Jay. I don't want to do this here. Yeah, but he's a special man.
Everyone under the sun has asked me if this phone call has happened. We shot this a year ago. My phone number's the same, she knows it. I have not gotten a phone call, but I don't think I will get that phone call, to be honest with you. And I'm not expecting it. I have done so much work in healing. I have found this space ultimately where I am okay with being me today and moving forward. And if I never spoke with Tyra again in this lifetime, I'm okay with that. I'm really okay with it. I don't need it. I know people want me to say I missed the friendship. Ultimately, there was a divide, and we were moving in separate places. I don't think we'll ever speak again, to be honest with you, but my life is better because of her, and that's what I hold on to.
He was such a visionary, one of the most talented creatives I've ever worked with. I
accept it all, the good, the bad, the ugly, everything. This is part of my journey of who I am sitting here today. So I accept it all. I don't regret any of it. And I'm honestly here because of Tyra, and I will forever stand by that.